Welcome! In this playthrough of Arkham Horror the card game, we move into episode 3 of the Drowned City with the Drowned Quarter. So when we left our last playthrough, we had two options, and the Drowned Quarter was voted upon to go to next. So with that, the sound of crackling electricity greets you as you enter the undersea dome. Flooded trenches and crumbling ruins cover the round plaza on the seafloor. Try as you might, your eyes keep drifting to the ocean beyond the alien barrier. A bloom of jellyfish floats dreamily through the tenebrous depths. If the energy field were to disappear for any reason, the expedition would surely be swept away. So check our campaign log. We headed west, so we start with the Drowned Quarter 2. And with that, I think this is the source. Andy points to the round structure in the center of the plaza. Bolts of electricity lick the shimmering bubble above. Structure is the source of the glow, and presumably the energy field protecting these ruins from the ocean water. Inside you find a spinning orrery, a complex mechanism of hovering spheres and whirring gears that stir a constant electric current. Locked at its core is an incandescent orb. Andy fidgets nervously. It's powering the machine. I don't know what would happen if we take it out, but it looks like something Mr. Tillinghast would want. Before he can object, he sets to operating the ancient controls. There may be a way to remove the orb without drowning. If an investigator has the no place like home task, we'll resolve their respective story, but we do not, so we move to the setup. So that's just showing us our encounter sets we'll be dealing with. It explains how we set up our ocean floor, which is shown here. We'll get into that in a bit. Setting aside a couple things that we may or may not see. We also get to start with an earned artifact asset, which we don't have. So for the item assets of chose, once again, we're underwater. I don't want to drown. We each have diving suits, which gives us 3 health, and when any amount of damage would be placed on you, it goes on this first. And let's see. Add the flood tokens. We headed west, not east. Made our encounter deck. So location adjacency in the Drowned Quarter. During this scenario, locations are arranged in a set grid pattern. Each location is connected to each location adjacent to it, which is orthogonally, not diagonally. So first we'll go with our XP. Lucius is easy. I kept his XP. We didn't get anything new for him. For Michael, we spent 3 to get locked and loaded, so that's a permanent asset, limit 1 per deck. Our firearm assets, which uses ammo, interplay with an additional ammo, because millimeters don't make no difference. Bullets just kind of kill you. Okay. So then for our agenda, chunks of Relier's foundation continue to fall, threatening the seafloor dome. Forced, when your turn begins, if you're at a fully flooded location, you struggle for air, unless, of course, you've got a diving suit. When your turn ends, if you did not enter an unflooded or partially flooded location or decrease the flood level of your current location, take 5 direct damage. And then for our act, reactivate the core. You can't open the barrier core until the undersea dome is at least partially drained. Each location is connected to each location adjacent to it. So free action, spend 1 per player, and clues as a group decrease your location's flood level. Our objective at the end of the round, if each surviving investigator is at the barrier core on its active side, we may advance. Hint, reactivate the barrier core by revealing and draining locations. So the barrier core starts in the center for us on its inactive side. We've got a shroud of 4, and we're going to have 2 clues on it. If 6 or more seafloor locations are revealed and not flooded, flip the barrier core. As an action, we can decrease the flood level of the core and choose an adjacent eligible location, increase the flood level of the chosen location, then place 3 clues per player on it, group limit once per round. So basically that's going to go in the center. We're going to have a 3x3 grid. In the seafloor, there were 2 additional cards in here that we took out. Then with our remaining 8 cards, give that a shuffle, and we finish the ocean floor. And of course I've got my round sequence nearby just in case, and we start at the barrier. Just for space. I'm going to say that's location 1. And that's where we are. And just as a reminder, this does say to put 5 tokens on it and then remove, but I'm going to put them on, and if we get 5 or more, then we'll meet, because I'll mess up if I'm adding to one and subtracting from the other. So with this one again, when we gain 1 or more resources, place one of those resources on good money. We want to end the game with 5 or more on that. And this one, after you discover the last remaining clue at your location, remove a token from it, or in my case, I'm adding one. And then if we end with 5 on it, we will have met our goal. So for our starting hands, for Michael, shuffle our cards, toss a few around, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, we've got a Derringer, that's our good one, so that's a keeper. Hard Knocks, Unexpected Courage, a Luger, and a Remington. So I like all the guns for sure. So we're going to keep those 3, discarding these 2. And awesome, we've got Robert and an Overpower. Then we'll shuffle these back in. And then get Lucius set up. Give it a good shuffle. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Dial of Ancients, Dexterity, Lockpicks, that's a keeper, and more Dexterity. We'll keep one of those. Discarding these 3 to get our Book of Verse, Forensic Kit, and an Uncanny Specimen. So keeping those, and shuffling the others back in. And with that, I believe we are ready to get going. So here's our explanations for our other tokens, which I'll go over once we get to them. And our round sequence, skip the Mythos phase, so straight to us. Of course, the core did start with 2 clues on it. We're going to start with Lucius, and for his first action, we're going to put in our lock picks. So that's 3. Gets 3 supplies. If it has no supplies on it, we discard it. It's an action, exhaust it. Investigate. Add our agility value to your skill value for this investigation. If you do not exceed by at least 2, remove 1 supply from lock picks. Then as a free action, since this is fast, we'll bring in an Uncanny Specimen. We can have 3 of those to take up our arcane slot. And then when any of these symbols are revealed during the skill test, we can discard this to cancel the chaos token, return it to the bag, and reveal a new one. If this test is successful, we'll draw a card. Then for our second action, we're going to go ahead and use our lock picks. So that's going to be our base 4 plus 5, so we're 9 on 4. Bring out our chaos bag. And first thing, that's a good way to start the game. +1 for each enemy at your location. Even though it gives us nothing, we succeeded by more than 2, so we got a clue. And for our third action, we're just going to try 4 on 4. See if we get lucky. And we got a -1, so didn't quite make it, but worth a shot. So done with Lucius. So Michael, for his first action, we're going to bring in Robert. Cost us 4. Gives us +1 combat. It's an action, discard a firearm asset that takes up 1 or fewer hand slots from your hand and exhaust Robert. Resolve a fight ability on the discarded asset, ignoring all costs. This does not provoke attacks of opportunity. And Our second action, we're going to gain a supply. And then our third action, spin those two to bring in our Luger. Normally comes in with 2, but since we're locked and loaded, comes in with 3. Free action, exhaust it and spin an ammo, get +1 for this attack. Or as an action, spin a resource, replenish all ammo on the Luger and ready it. So we got 3 bullets. And that was everyone there. So enemy phase, we don't know what enemies are just yet, but I'm sure we will soon. Upkeep, reset our actions, ready exhausted cards. Each of us draws a card and gains a resource, and then check our hand size, and we're on 3 each. I think we are going to keep our resources for now. So we get 1, so we're primed for action. And over here, Dial of Ancients. And so that I don't keep picking them up upside down, flip that around. All right, going into our Mythos phase, we're going to add a doom to the agenda. Not quite ready to advance, and then we each get an encounter card. So we start with Michael. An Elder Mist. Revelation, attach it to the nearest location without an Elder Mist, which will be where we're at. Each investigator at the location gets -1 to everything important. After investigator at attached location succeeds at a skill test by 2 or more, we get to discard this. So that is also at Area 1. And then over here, hey, it's another Elder Mist. So we will put that on Area, we'll call it 2. And then back to us. All right, we're going to start with Lucius. His first action is going to be to play the Book of Verse. Gets an inspiration, replenish this inspiration the first time you discover a clue each round. So response, after revealing chaos tokens during a skill test, spend an inspiration to get +1 skill value for this skill test. If you succeed by exactly 0, we get to draw a card. Then for a second action, we use our lock picks. So everything's -1, so it's going to be 3 + 4, so 7 on 4. We're going to go ahead and make it 9 on 4, and if we're successful, draw a card, because hopefully it's too easy. So 9 on 4, and we got a +1. So we succeeded by 2 or more, which means we keep everything there, and this goes away. And we gain the last clue, which for us gives us 1 out of the 5 that we're looking for. And third action, we're going to head south. Let's see, when you enter seafloor, increase the flood level of this location and an adjacent eligible location. So this is going to be partially flooded, and we'll partially flood that one. So the abyssal trench, X is equal to half the number of revealed seafloor locations rounded down. So that's a seafloor. So it's going to get 1, or have 1. We get 2 clues on it. After you successfully fight or evade an enemy in the trench, decrease its flood level. Group limit once per game. Seafloor trench feels as alien as another dimension. All right. So he's moved down here, and he's still at spot 1. And we've got 2 clues. So for Michael's first action, he's going to move down here. So everyone's hanging out at 1 again. And then our second and third action is going to be to get supplies. Oh yeah, I forgot to draw the card. Got an emergency cash if needed. You can never be too prepared. True statement. So enemy phase, done. Upkeep. Reset. That's readied. I'm going to give him a resource. But over here, instead of getting it, we're going to put it on good money. Then drawing cards. Oops, Dreams of the Flood. Put this into your play area. First time you discover one or more clues during your turn, take a horror and shuffle Dreams of Flood into your deck. Not cool. And over here, we're primed for action. So we've got 2 primed for actions, some unexpected courage, the gun that I made sure we've got 3/4 and an overpower. And over here, Dial of Ancients, a forensic kit, and our emergency cash. Mythos phase, we go to 2. And starting over here for the bad cards, there's something in the water. It's going to get a surge. Revelation, increase the flood level of the nearest eligible location, which is where we're at. So that is now fully flooded, but we're in our dive suits. And that's surge. Cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed. All right, some Cyclopean architecture. We need to test our intellect, which is 1. We're not that smart. Where X is your location's printed shroud, which is X. For each point you fail by, choose and discard 1 card from your hand to a max of 3. The worst things could happen. All right, a little bag of goodies. And we found our blessing. +2, may place an ammo on a firearm asset you control. We actually passed. Wasn't expecting that. All right, we'll place some more ammo there. And discard that. And then over here, found an Elder Deep One. Hunter, retaliate. Each other Deep One enemy gains Relentless. Forced after Elder Deep One engages you. Heal damage from each other Deep One enemy in play. Well, we'll have him engage Michael. And back to our turn. Actually, let me take it back. We're going to have him engage Lucius. Then we're going to go with Lucius first. And we're going to have him attempt evading. He's a base 5 on 4. Michael's going to help with a +1. And he'll give himself a +1. So 7 on 4. And that's going to get us a -1, so we are good. We're -1, 7 on 4, so I got a 6 on 4. If you evade an enemy by 2 or more, discover a clue at your location. Consider that done, so we're up to 3. Then we're going to take a horror and shuffle that back into our deck. All right. And hope we don't see that again. So So he gets exhausted. And we'll use our lockpicks to do some investigating. So 9 on 1. And we got a -1. So we find that clue and go up to 2 on that. Then as a free action, we're going to spend 2 to flip that over and then spend 2 more to get rid of it. So he evaded and used his lockpicks. Those were free triggers. Well, actually, forgot, after we fight or evade, we'll use that ability. So that was fully flooded. We could use that ability to bring that down and then spend 2 to get rid of it. And then for his third action, he's going to go counterclockwise. I'll just use that instead. Okay, so over here, first action, we're spending 3 to bring in our Derringer. So it's going to come in with 4 ammo, thanks to our locked and loaded. It's an action, spending ammo. A fight will get +2 combat for this attack. If we succeed by 1 or more, this attack deals +1 damage. Once per turn, if you succeed by 3 or more, you may take an additional action this turn. So 4 bullets. That was action 1. Action 2 is going to spend a bullet to fight this thing. So we're base 5, 6, 7, 8 on a 3. So bringing this over, 8 on 3, -1. We get +1 action. I'll just take this back, and we're dealing 2 damage. And of course, after you spend 1 or more ammo from a firearm asset, gain a resource. We'll go ahead and gain that there. Then for a second action again, we're going to take a bullet, gain a resource, fighting again. So once again, 8 on 3. And we're blessed. Getting ammo back. And this thing is dead. And our third action, we'll move to the seafloor. All right, enemy phase done. Upkeep. Reset our actions. Gain a resource, but over here we're going to gain some good money. Get a resource there. Draw into a magnifying glass, which is always good to have. +1 while investigating to add with our other 2 cards. And over here, getting some manual dexterity. Oh, and I forgot, when you enter the sea floor, increase the flood level of this location, so that's fully flooded. And we partially flooded that. And that was the Ancient Gallery. 3 per player on that. Choose, as an action, choose and discard 2 cards from your hand. Put the set aside Obsidian Relic asset into play under your control. And let's get a Shroud of 3. And at the moment, don't need that. All right, Doom goes up to 3. Bad things. Crumbling Masonry. Got to test our agility. Acts as your location's printed shroud, which is 3. If you fail, take 2 damage. Said that the geometry of the dream place he saw was abnormal, non-Euclidean, and loathsomely redolent of spheres and dimensions apart from ours. All right. So we're base 3, going on 3. We are going to add 3, and if successful, draw a card. So 6 on 3, and we're -1. So we are good with that. And we draw into some intimidation. Then for Lucius, ominous silence. Put this into play in your threat areas. An additional cost to play a card. Must either spend a resource or take a horror. As an action, we can test our agility. If your location is not flooded, this test automatically succeeds. Oh, that did come in with 6 clues. And that reset, we're going to start with our lockpicks. First action. So 9 on 3. That is -2 if you fail and your location is fully flooded. Take a damage, but we're not failing. We'll get up to 3. And for our second action, we're just going to go with our base 4 on 3, or investigate. We're going to make it 5 on 3. Actually, no. We'll use unexpected courage with a little help. So making it 6 on 3. And -2, so we're still good. And then for 2 free actions, we're going to spend 2 to bring that down to partially, and then spend the other 2 to unflood it. And then as a free action, we can auto succeed to discard that. So then Michael, first action, we're going to draw a card to a Derringer. Second action, draw another card into a crack shot. And then third action, we're going to choose and discard 2 cards from hand, getting rid of an overpower and intimidation. Put the set aside obsidian relic asset into play under your control. Actually, take that back. We don't want that under our control. Because looking at that, we need someone book smart. So third action, good money. He'll get a supply and up that. So that is all our actions. So enemy phase, we don't have any. Ready your cards. Gain supplies. Draw a card. So another crack shot to go with the rest of our hand. And over here, forensic kit. All right, place of doom, 4 out of 7. Bad things, starting over here. Something in the water, increase the flood level of the nearest eligible location, which is where we're at. And surges into Medusa, aloof and patrol, nearest unflooded or partially flooded location, which is where we're at. When the enemy phase begins, if Medusa is ready, increase the flood level of its location. You cannot place a doom on Medusa. Not your average jellyfish. And then over here, well, she's aloof, so not really on anybody. Hey, another Medusa. Okay, on to our turn. Okay, first action, we're going to start with Michael. He's going to shoot at Medusa. So spending a resource, which gets us a resource, or spending a bullet anyway. And that was 5, 6, 7, 8 on 3. And -1. So we've got a dead Medusa. And we get another action for shooting so well. So our first action again, we'll shoot at this Medusa with some really good numbers. And this time we'll get a -4. What did I say? We're 5, 6, 7, 8. We're still good. Then second action, we're going to gain a supply, taking this to 5. So I'm just going to move that out of the way to make some more room. And third action, we're going to, oops, that's right. We don't have enough arms to pick that up. I feel like he's so useless down here. But got that. So that was our third action, get another supply. Then over here, you'll use this to go for a clue. And we're -4, but we're 9. Yeah, we're still good. Actually, we're going to spin that to give us +1. So that we were 10 on 3. So we're -4. No, we're still good, right? With the -4. I was worried about the not winning by at least 2. But 5 on 3, we're still good. Okay. Then we're going to have Lucius take this action to discard 2 cards. But probably not those 2. We'll discard these 2 to get the Obsidian Relic. And as an action, double the skill icons of each card committed to the skill test. If you succeed, flip this card and resolve its text. Haven't read the other side. Like I said, this is my first time playing. Use the wrong ones there. So he did that base action, then he did a second action here. Then we're going to get fast, playing this to give us +1 while we're investigating. So then we'll be 5 on 3, so we'll try that for our third action. And that is half the number of revealed locations rounded down. We're at 3, so -1. So we're still good. Gained a clue. But all out of actions. So no monsters, resetting. Get some supplies. Draw cards. Unexpected courage. And over here, 45 automatic. And this goes to 5. Bad things. Eye of the Deep. Put into play in your threat area. Limit 1 per investigator. Treat each of those symbols as something else instead. Then as an action, we can test our, whatever our brains is, willpower. If you succeed, discard that. And then over here, Deadly Torrent. If your location is unflooded, gain surge, but it's partially flooded. We can test our agility to swim or combat to stand our ground. Need a 4. Our agility is a 5. We're going to have Michael help, taking us up 1. And then we're +1, so we're good. All right, investigators, starting with Lucius, using lockpicks. So 9, 10 on 3. So that takes us 7 on 3. We are still good. So this goes up to 3. And that goes down to 1. Then second action, we are base 5 on 3. We'll try that. And that's still a -1, so we're good there. We take the last one and cleared off 3. Then we spend 2 to clear that off. And then our third action is to move north to area 2. When you enter seafloor, increase the flood level here and an adjacent location. So fully flooded coral reef, shroud of 4, 3 per player, 2 actions, draw 2 cards to gain 2 resources, spawn the set aside undersea parasite enemy. All right, so that comes in with 6. And fully flooded. And now this matters again, which was we're -1 to each of our abilities. So Michael is going to move. And see if he can get lucky on Eye of the Deep. Oh, is there something bad? If you fail and your location is fully flooded, take a damage. That's not the best. So we'll go ahead and spend 2 to make that partially flooded. And see if you can get lucky. And that's a -1. But unfortunately, we were 3 on 3. So didn't make it. So our third and final action. We made it that time. +2, placing ammo on a firearm asset. And this goes away. So that was 3 actions for everyone. No enemies, that's always good, right? Get one. Draw a card. All right, Andy. And up here, we're going up to 6 cards. Emergency cash. Then we go to 6 out of 7. And then bad things, starting over here. Cunning Mimicry. There are no monster enemies in play, gain surge. Hey, we found a monster. It's a persistent construct. Nearest investigator with an artifact asset. Which I don't think any of us has. Forced, when you defeat this enemy, spawn each other persistent construct in the victory display. Exhausted at your location. Victory of 0. That doesn't help our experience. All right, we're going to have him come in. Even though it was his card, he's attaching to Lucius. And then for Lucius, finds a deep one thrall. He engages you, discard a card at random from your hand. And we will put that one over on Michael because he's got cards to spare. But it's probably going to be one that I want. Crack shot goes away. Okay, we are going to start with Lucius. -1, so he's a 4 for evasion, so 4 on 2. And I've got nothing to really help. -1, we made it though. So he becomes exhausted. We did not win by 2. So then we're going to use our lock picks, which is going to take us to 7, 8 on 4. And that, we're getting very blessed on this one. So we got a clue. And drop that, and we were over by more than 2 to get rid of that. So we evaded, did our lock picks. And then for our third action, we're going to go after this relic. So double the skill icons of each card committed to this skill test. If you succeed, flip this card and resolve it. We're going to be a base 5. Is that right? No. That's only if we play him. In that case, maybe next turn. We're going to play Andy. So we'll spend 4. It gives us +1. If your location has no clues on it, ignore the first attack of opportunity made against you each round. So that's his turn. All right, for our first action, we're going to shoot at this thrall, which takes us to a 8 on 2. And that is -3, -5 if your location is not flooded. It's partially flooded, so we are good. Well, we had 8, takes us down to 5. So we just beat it by 2. So we don't get the extra turn, but it's going. And then with our last bullet on our best gun, go with this guy. That's our second action. And okay, we get a bullet back. It's going to be a record for getting that blessed thing. So this is dead, and we get another action. And we're going to draw a card into Robert. And draw a card into, you've had worse. All right, so that's everyone, no monsters. So resetting. Get our resources. Over here, draw into manual dexterity. Get over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got our max hand side. All right, there's our case. Now the bad news. This goes to 7. So that means we're flipping this over. Seafloor Leviathan. Massive patrol. Nearest unflooded or partially flooded location. Spawns at the barrier cove. Or core. Gets +3 health per player. When the enemy phase begins, if this enemy is ready, increase the flood level of its location. victory of 2. Well, that's a bummer. So he's massive and patrolling. So with patrol, let's see. Each ready, unengaged enemy with patrol moves to a connecting location along the shortest path towards their designated target. And a massive ready enemy with the keyword is considered to be engaged with each investigator at the same location. So massive fella is there. Ten health, goodness. All right, we'll start on this side, and we're going to spend 2 to bring in our case. You have 2 additional hand slots, which can only be used to hold firearms. As a response after you play, search the top 9 cards of your deck for a firearm asset and add it to your hand and shuffle your deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. All right, got the Remington, which can do additional damage, which I'm definitely going to need. The 45 costs more, but money's no object. And that's more ammo and does the +2 damage. So we take the 45. This gets shuffled back in. Second action, spin 4 to bring in the 45. So it's going to come in with 5 ammo, action spinning ammo, get +1 combat, and deals +1 damage. So 5 bullets. So we played her case, played the gun. Next action, we're moving north. So we will call that location 3. And when we enter there, that's going to be partially flooded. This gets fully flooded. And we found the blasted ruins. 2, that's nice. 1 per player. After you end your turn at blasted ruins, increase its flood level. It's an action. Investigators may spend 5 resources as a group, decrease the flood level of this location or an adjacent location. If it's fully flooded, can't go any further. That just makes that symbol a lot worse. Okay, it comes in with 2. And that's where he is. So then Lucius is going to move. Uses lockpicks, which takes us to 9, 10, 11 on 2. $12 on 2, set a record. So we gain that. And then third action, we're just going to be 6 on 2. And that takes us to 2 on 2, which still gets us where we needed. And puts that up to 4. All right, enemies phase. Enemy with the hunter keyword moves towards the nearest investigator. But in this case, it's got the patrol, nearest unflooded or partially flooded location. We are going to choose that to be here. Oh, but start of its turn, it partially flooded that area. So an enemy phase begins. If it's ready, increase the flood level of its location. So we did that. Then with the patrol, it moved here. And it's not engaged, so it doesn't attack. So upkeep phase, reset. That readies. Get her supplies. Draw some cards. Perception, nice. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We've got guts. Oh yeah, and that reset last turn. So we are on a big time clock now. But we need 6 or more locations revealed and not flooded. Well, we've got 5 revealed and 2 not flooded. Yeah, that's a pain. I think it's time to split the party. We're going to start with Michael then. His first action is to move in with the Leviathan. So it's massive. Engage with everyone. Second action, he's going to shoot at it with the Derringer. Which takes us up to 8 on 2. And we're -1, so we get another action. So that was our second action. We get that back. We did 2 damage. Then we're going to attempt to evade. We're base 3 on 2. Got nothing else showing that we can do anything with that. So we'll spin that. So we'll become 5 on 2. Uh-oh, that's where the luck falls. Now we're 3 on 2. And yeah, that's only for firearm and range tests. So we've got nothing to help. Let's see what we get. -1. All right, so we evaded, luckily. Okay, so that's his turn. We really need another clue. So maybe it's not time to split the party. Lucius is going to come down here. First action. Second action. Let's see. Use her lockpicks to go into this. 11 on 4. And we're good. Third action. We're going to attempt this. So we're base 5, but for each card committed, we get we double, let's see, double the skill icons of each card committed to the skill test. So we're going to put in perception, unexpected courage, and a forensic kit. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus or 5. So we're 15 on 8. And if successful, we draw a card. And we bring out a -3, so we're going to be just fine on that. So go ahead and draw a card into String Along. Those got discarded. And now we see, hopefully that was good, the relic. Pressing a small inset in the relic space opens the statue center with a strange hiss, unfolding like an obsidian blossom. Light projection extends over the relic's open core, showing hazy scenes of a crashing alien shoreline and nameless horrors silhouetted against the sky. An Indarian creature looms over a crowd of squamous larvae. I'm going to mispronounce tons of things, grasping a glowing tablet and a tangle of vicious tentacles. Was this some kind of otherworldly sage, an alien leader perhaps? You discover this glyph. So in a campaign log, record knowledge under the glyph and record. Add this card to the victory display. So that is going to be our turn. All right, this guy's exhausted, so he's not going to do anything until our next phase when he readies and engages us both. We each gain a supply and draw a card, getting another uncanny specimen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is some hard knocks. And we add this and do some bad things. Dreaming Migration if there are no enemies in play. Otherwise, test our willpower. Nearest enemy moves to your location, makes an immediate attack, or draw the topmost enemy. All right, so we're base 3. And we've got cards. We've got guts too. It's an elite monster. We'll just go with guts, so we'll be 5 on 3. And we're good with that. So we draw a card into Overpower. And for Lucius, found a friend. Persistent Construct. Nearest investigator with an artifact asset is who it goes after. When you defeat this, spawn each other construct in the victory display at your location, which I think is 1. But did I forget to put it in the victory display? Yep. So that's just a little annoying thing that's going to keep following us around forever. But I am going to put it on him. Okay. Back to our turn. We're going to start with Lucius, and he's going to attempt to evade this guy. So he's a base 5 on 2. We're going to make it 7 on 2. If we're successful, draw a card. And with that symbol, we've got revealed 5. So it's a -2. So we're fine. And we draw into another uncanny specimen. He becomes exhausted. We won by a lot, so we'll take a clue. And over here, we're engaged with 2 things. But as long as we're attacking, we don't take attacks of opportunity. We are shooting at the seafloor Leviathan with our 45 automatic. So that gives us +1, so we're going to be 5, 6, 7 on 2. And that gets us a bullet back, which we're going to put down here. And it also, yes, that was our first action. So second action, we're going to use this bullet, shooting there. And that is -2. What were we at? 1, 2, 7, 8, 9. All right, so we won by 3 or more, which gets us another action back. But did 2 more damage. And then for our third action again, we'll use a bullet from there. And try again. And that's a +1. So 8 out of 10, yes. I think it just did 1 action with him, wasn't it? Yeah, he just evaded. He still has 2 more. But going out of order didn't matter. So for his second action, using that to investigate. So a bunch on 4. -2, we're going to be fine. It goes down to 2. And third action, try with a base 6 on 4. And we're good with that. All right, so now that's everyone. Enemies, this guy attacks, we take a damage, which goes on our diving suit. That might be a problem. And then we ready, reset, get our resources, draw a card, magnifying glass. And over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We draw into where's the party. And we're going to pitch our emergency cash. Okay, we'll go up to 3. Man, I'm having a problem. Bad things. Crumbling masonry, test our agility. If you fail, take 2 damage, which blows up our diving suit. So we're 3 on 3. Oh no, it's 3 on 4. Lucius is going to give us +1. So we're 4 on 4. And then 5 on 4. And we're +1. So we made it. And then over here, got some silence. This recalls to play a card. Testing agility gets rid of it. We might just have to live with that for a while. So next turn. Starting with him for evasion for the big guy. So 5 on 2. So we're fine. He becomes exhausted. We take the last clue, which is going to finish this for us, so I'll just get that off to the side. So that was one action for him. Free action, we'll spin 2 to get rid of this flooding. Then second action, we're going to move up to 3 and spend 4 to unflood that. And third action, move over here, which is going to fully flood that. And we're going to throw some partially flooding over that direction. And let's see. We only get 2 threat on this one. After you successfully fight or evade an enemy here, decrease its flood level. And we'll call that location 2. We get 2 clues, and he's done. All right, we're going to spend an ammo from here to shoot at the seafloor Leviathan. So 5, 6, 7 on 2. And we are good, and that is going to destroy him. He goes to our victory. That was our first action. Second action, shooting here. Same thing. And that's a fail. Well, we'll use our last bullet. Shooting again. And we're fine that time, so it kills this one, which brings the other one back in, but it's exhausted. And he's done. Then we go through the enemy phase, nothing's going to happen. Then we ready stuff. Reattaches. Gain some resources. Draw some cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Go up to 4. Man, we're going to be pushing it. Over here, Deadly Torrent. If your location is unflooded, we're at location 1. Gain Surge. Corrosive Fog. Test one of those. We're definitely going to combat. If you fail, take a damage. If you fail by 3 or more, instead deal direct damage to your investigator and each ally and item asset you control with health. We're going to go with Overpower. If we're successful, we draw a card. Die, you beast. So we're 5, 6, 7, 8 on 4. And that's -3, so we're good. And we draw a card. Into our Luger. And over here, Dreaming Migration. If there are no enemies in play, gain Surge. Otherwise, we test our willpower. Nearest enemy moves to your location and makes an immediate attack. Or draw the topmost enemy in the encounter discard pile. Okay. Basically, there's a chance. Actually, no, there isn't. We failed. There's only one enemy in play, so it's going to move over And attack us for 1 damage. Which goes on our diving suit. Then back to our turn. Unfortunately, if we collect these 2, we've got enough to flip all these, but then we move here and we don't have enough. So we're going to have to explore again. And our shroud is 3. So we are going to start with Lucius. First action is to evade. So 5 on 2. So 5 on 2. Yeah, we're still good with the -3. So evaded successfully. He is in area 2 exhausted. Did not get enough to get that. But if you successfully fight or evade an enemy at this location, decrease its flood level. Okay. That helps. But that is a once per game. Then second action, exhaust that to go into here. So we're going to be 9, 10, 11 on 3. So we're fine. 7 on 3, we're still good with that. And if we just go base, we're 6 on 3. We're going to make it 7 on 3. So we're fine. So we've cleared that one. That was our final action. And then we're going to spin 2 to remove that. Then over here, since we can have 4 guns in play, we're going to spend 3 to bring in our other Derringer. That's going to come in with 4 ammo. Then we're going to move to the barrier core. And then spin 2 to bring in Hard Knocks. So as free actions, we can spend resources to help us in fight or evasion. So we put in a Derringer, we moved, and did that. So enemy phase, nothing is going to happen. Upkeep, these ready. Get some supplies. Draw a card. Of course, we get our weakness. -2 skill value for investigating. When your turn ends, if you did not successfully investigate this round, take a horror and shuffle this back in. And over here, frenzied, nice. When your turn ends, if you did not successfully fight an enemy this round, take a damage and shuffle that back into play. Fight, you get -2 skill value for this attack. If you succeed, discard this card. And then we go up to 5. Bad stuff. I guess we'll get these off. Over here, corrosive fog. If you fail, take a damage. If you fail by 3 or more, instead deal direct damage to your investigator and each ally and item. So needless to say, we're going fight. So our base 6, 7, 8, and if we're successful, draw a card. So 8 on 4, and that's going to be -3. So we're good. We draw into You've Had Worse. And then a Deep One Ambush. Put this into play in your threat area. After a Deep One enemy engages you, it attacks you, then discard Deep One Ambush. Well, that came off. It already engaged us. Okay. So first action, evade, 5 on 2. Okay. We are -2, so we're good. This guy's exhausted. That was our first action. Our second action is to move into location 1. We'll spend those to get rid of that. We'll spend a resource to put another specimen into play, ending our turn. If you did not successfully investigate, take a horror and shuffle that back into our deck. And for him, he'll just get 3 supplies. And since we didn't fight and beat anybody, take a damage and shuffle that back into our deck. So that goes to 2. Enemy phase, nothing happens. Then we go through the upkeep phase. At the end of the round, if each surviving investigator is at the barrier core active, well, if 6 or more seafloor locations are revealed and not flooded, flip this, so we've got that. So we're now active. Forced, if there are 5 or fewer unflooded seafloor locations, flip it. It's an action, spend 2 per player clues as a group. Put the set aside barrier node story asset into play under your control. We don't have that much time to do anything else. We're ending this thing. So it's on the active side. All right, if an investigator controls the barrier node, we don't otherwise. Okay. The alien machinery hums with an otherworldly current. Overhead, a massive chunk of rock falls from the foundation and passes through the flickering energy field. Structure seems to have been stabilized. All right, go to Resolution 2 on page 18. All right, Resolution 2. The reactivated core makes quick work of the flooded dome, draining the water in mere minutes. You survey the perimeter of the sunken ruin with the expedition, marveling at its ancient grandeur. The feeling of walking on a dry ocean floor with fish flittering beyond the flickering bubble is like something out of a dream. After several hours, the expedition presses on. In your campaign log, record the power was diverted. Each investigator earns 2 bonus experience from studying the drowned quarter at length. Proceed to Resolution 3. Energy field protected the tunnel back to the city, continues to hold strong. The jagged foundations of Relia continue to break off in pieces as the city rises. Time to move on. Your campaign log, cross out the drowned quarter on the map. Each investigator earns experience equal to the victory X value of each card in the victory display. And check your campaign log. If we headed west, we proceed to the apiary. All right, so we're going to the apiary next. Our XP, so we get 2 bonus experience plus 3, and none of those are going to help us, so we're ending up with 5 XP from this one. So time was getting close, but we made it through. So as always, hope you enjoyed this playthrough. So please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.